great council chamber of the Galactic Empire filled with laughter, loud, mocking laughter that echoed off the crystal walls. At the center of the room, Admiral Zek-7 held up a small datapad, his four eyes gleaming with amusement. "Look at this," he said, waving the device in the air. "The humans think they can fight us with railguns." More laughter erupted from the crowd. Hundreds of alien species sat in the curved seats, all pointing at the Earth Intelligence Report. The Vorthon delegates slapped their tentacles together. The Crystalline Empire representatives made sharp clicking sounds that meant they found something very funny. Commander Thrak, a massive reptilian warrior, stood up from his seat. His scales shimmered green as he spoke in a deep voice. "Railguns, those old things? My ancestors used those weapons 1,000 years ago." "Exactly." Admiral Zek-7 smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "These primitive humans are still using magnetic acceleration. How cute." Dr. Voss, the Empire's top scientist, walked to the center of the room. Her pale blue skin glowed slightly as she activated a holographic display. The image showed Earth's solar system, with small red dots marking human defensive positions. "I have studied their technology," she announced. "Their railguns are simple, very simple. They use basic electromagnets to shoot metal projectiles. The speed is slow, the power is weak. Our shields will stop them easily." The alien council members nodded and made sounds of agreement. Some looked bored already. "Tell us about their other weapons," called out General Corks from the back. His insect-like wings buzzed with curiosity. Dr. Voss changed the hologram to show Earth's military forces. "They have nuclear missiles, but those are even older technology. Their space fighters are small and carry weak laser weapons. Their defense stations look like toys compared to our battle cruisers." Admiral Zek-7 walked around the holographic Earth, pointing at the human positions. "Look at these pathetic attempts at defense. They have only 12 railgun platforms in their entire system. 12! We have 300 ships in our attack fleet." "This will be over in minutes," laughed Commander Thrak. "Maybe we should send only half our fleet. We don't want to make it too unfair." The laughter grew louder. Some aliens were now making jokes about keeping humans as pets after the easy victory. "Wait," said a small voice from the corner. It was Ambassador Krill, a tiny creature with large eyes. "Should we not study their technology more carefully? Sometimes simple things can be dangerous." The laughter stopped for a moment. Then Admiral Zek-7 began laughing even harder. "Dangerous? Krill, you worry too much. We have energy shields that can stop plasma cannons. We have armor made from neutron star metal. What can a simple railgun do against that?" Dr. Voss nodded in agreement. "Our smallest scout ship has better defenses than their strongest weapon. The laws of physics are clear. Railguns have limits. They cannot break our shields. Besides," added Commander Thrak, "we have studied every advanced civilization in the galaxy. All of them gave up railgun technology long ago. It is a dead end. Only primitive species still use it." The hologram now showed the alien fleet. Massive ships filled the display, each one the size of a human city. Their hulls gleamed with advanced armor. Blue energy fields surrounded each vessel, showing their powerful shield systems. "Our plasma cannons can destroy planets," boasted Admiral Zek-7. "Our quantum torpedoes can bend space itself. And they think metal bullets will hurt us?" More laughter filled the chamber. The sound was cruel now, full of confidence and arrogance. "I almost feel sorry for them," said a delegate from the Hive Mind Collective. "They don't understand how outclassed they are." "Should we offer them surrender terms before we attack?" asked Ambassador Krill, still trying to be cautious. "No!" roared Admiral Zek-7. "They need to learn their place in the galaxy. We will crush their pathetic railguns, destroy their fleets, and show them the power of true advanced technology." The Council voted unanimously. The attack on Earth would begin immediately. As the meeting ended and aliens began to leave, Dr. Voss stayed behind to study the human data one more time. Something about the energy readings from Earth seemed strange. The railgun platforms were drawing enormous amounts of power, more power than they should need. She shook her head and dismissed the thought. It was probably just human inefficiency. Primitive species always wasted energy. Back on Earth, deep inside a hidden military command center, General Sarah Chen watched the alien fleet approaching on her screens. She turned to her weapons officer with a slight smile. "They're coming," she said quietly. "Are our railguns ready?" The officer checked his instruments. All systems charged and ready, General. Should we tell them what they're really facing? General Chen shook her head. No, let them find out the hard way. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. She pressed a button on her console. Around the solar system, 12 massive installations began to power up. But these weren't the simple railguns the aliens expected. These were something else entirely. Something the galaxy had never seen before. The hunt was about to begin. The alien fleet moved through space like a wall of death. 300 massive warships cut through the darkness, their hulls glowing with energy shields. Each ship was a floating city of destruction, armed with weapons that could crack moons. Admiral Zex-7 stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Through the viewing window, he could see Earth growing larger ahead. The small blue planet looked so peaceful, so defenseless. "Status report," he commanded. "Fleet formation holding steady, Admiral," reported his tactical officer. "All ships are at full combat readiness, shields at maximum power, weapons charged and ready." Admiral Zex-7 nodded with satisfaction. "How long until we reach their outer defenses?" 2 hours, sir. The humans have 12 railgun platforms scattered around their solar system. Our scouts confirm they are the only significant threat. The Admiral laughed. "Threat? Those ancient weapons couldn't scratch our paint. What about their space fleet?" 47 small ships, Admiral. They appear to be evacuation vessels. No sign of their military fleet." This made Admiral Zex-7 pause. "No military ships? Where are they hiding?" "Our sensors show no large vessels anywhere in the system, sir. Perhaps they fled when they detected our approach." "Cowards," spat Commander Thrak from his position at the weapons console. "They know they cannot fight us, so they run like scared animals." Admiral Zex-7 felt a surge of disappointment. He had hoped for at least a small challenge, something to make the victory more satisfying. "Open a communication channel to Earth," he ordered. "Let's give them a chance to surrender with dignity." The main screen flickered to life. A human face appeared, an older man with gray hair and stern eyes. He wore a simple military uniform with no fancy decorations. "This is General Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command," the human said calmly. "State your business." Admiral Zex-7 smiled his most intimidating smile. "I am Admiral Zex-7 of the Galactic Empire. You stand before the most powerful fleet in known space. Your pathetic defenses cannot protect you." General Chen's expression didn't change. "Is that so?" "Indeed. We offer you this one chance to surrender. Submit to the Empire, and your people may live as our servants. Resist, and we will crush every city, every station, every human vessel in this system." The human general was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled. "Admiral, you seem very confident in your technology. We have every right to be. Our ships carry weapons that can destroy worlds. Our shields have never been breached by primitive technology like yours." "Primitive technology," General Chen repeated slowly. "Is that what you call our railguns? Magnetic acceleration weapons?" "Yes, very primitive. Our scientists tell us you're still using the same basic design from centuries ago. How quaint." General Chen's smile grew wider. "Your scientists are very smart. Tell me, Admiral, what do you know about our power sources?" Admiral Zex-7 frowned. This wasn't how surrender conversations usually went. "Your power sources? What does that matter? You use fusion reactors like most primitive worlds." "Some of our platforms do use fusion reactors," the general agreed. "But not all of them." Something in her tone made Admiral Zex-7 uncomfortable. "What are you trying to say, human?" "I'm saying your intelligence reports might be incomplete, Admiral." Before Admiral Zex-7 could respond, his science officer interrupted. "Sir, we're detecting unusual energy readings from several human positions." "What kind of readings?" "Unknown, Admiral. The power levels are significant, much higher than our reports indicated." Admiral Zex-7 turned back to the screen. General Chen was still smiling that strange, confident smile. "You seem troubled, Admiral. Is there a problem?" "Nothing we cannot handle," he said, though he felt less certain now. "You have 2 hours to evacuate your civilians. Then we begin our attack." 2 hours? General Chen checked something off screen. "That should be enough time." "Enough time for what?" "To finish our preparations, of course." "Oh, and Admiral, you might want to tell your fleet to spread out a bit more." "Why would we do that?" General Chen's smile disappeared. Her eyes became cold and hard. because concentrated formations make better targets. The communication ended. The screen went dark. Admiral Zek-7 stared at the blank display, feeling uneasy for the first time since the mission began. Around him, his bridge crew looked confused and worried. "Sir," called his sensor operator, "the energy readings from the human positions are growing stronger." "Show me." The tactical display lit up with the solar system. 12 red dots marked the human railgun platforms, but now each dot was pulsing with increasing brightness. "What are they doing?" Admiral Zek-7 whispered. In the asteroid belt, massive installations were waking up from sleep. Ancient metal structures, hidden for years among the space rocks, began to hum with power. Power drawn from sources the aliens couldn't imagine. On Earth, General Chen watched her displays with quiet satisfaction. "All stations report ready," announced her weapons officer. "Excellent. Let's see how confident they are after the first shot." The hunt was about to begin, and the hunters were about to become the hunted. 2 hours had passed. The alien fleet hung in space like a storm cloud of metal and death. Admiral Zek-7 checked his chronometer one final time. "Time is up," he announced to his bridge crew. "Begin the attack. Target their railgun platforms first. Show them how useless their primitive weapons are." "Yes, Admiral." Commander Thrax Claws moved over his weapon controls. "All ships, prepare to fire on my command." The massive alien fleet spread across space, each ship charging its plasma cannons. Bright energy gathered at the tips of their weapons. In seconds, they would unleash enough firepower to turn a planet into dust. But before they could fire, something strange happened. On Earth, General Chen sat in her command chair, watching the alien positions on her tactical screen. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with determination. "All stations report ready, General," said her weapons officer, Colonel Martinez. "Distance to target. Lead ship is exactly 4 million kilometers, ma'am." "Perfect range." General Chen nodded slowly. "Very well. Target the flagship. Single shot. Let's introduce ourselves properly." "Yes, ma'am." Targeting the Eternal Dominion. Deep in the asteroid belt, Installation Alpha began to wake up. What the aliens thought was just another space rock started to move. Metal panels slid away, revealing the true structure underneath. It was enormous, bigger than any weapon the galaxy had ever seen. A railgun barrel stretched for 50 kilometers, surrounded by massive coils that hummed with impossible energy. "Power levels at maximum," reported the installation commander. "Magnetic field generators online. We're drawing directly from the solar collector array." "Solar collector?" asked a young technician. "I thought we used fusion reactors." The commander smiled grimly. "Son, we're not using fusion power. We're using the sun itself." Back on the alien flagship, Admiral Zek-7 was about to give the firing order when his science officer screamed. "Admiral, massive energy spike from the asteroid belt. Power readings are off the charts." "What? Show me." The main screen switched to long-range sensors. Where they expected to see empty space and floating rocks, they saw something impossible. A structure the size of a small moon, crackling with energy that made their most powerful reactors look like candles. "That's impossible," whispered Admiral Zek-7. "How did we miss something that big?" "Sir, it was hidden, disguised as asteroids. But the energy output, it's drawing power from their star." Before Admiral Zek-7 could process this information, General Chen's voice filled the bridge. "Attention, alien fleet. You wanted to see our railgun technology. Here's your demonstration." On Installation Alpha, the final systems came online. The massive railgun had been charging for 2 hours, drawing energy directly from the sun through a network of space-based collectors. No civilization had ever built anything like it. "Projectile loaded," announced the weapons officer. "Tungsten steel core magnetically accelerated. Estimated velocity, 0.27 light speed." "Fire," ordered General Chen. The railgun spoke. Lightning erupted along the 50-kilometer barrel. Magnetic fields stronger than Jupiter's core grabbed the projectile and hurled it forward. The energy release was so massive that nearby asteroids were pushed away by the electromagnetic pulse. Admiral Zek-7 watched the sensor readings in horror. "Something's coming at us." "Speed? That can't be right." "Sir, projectile velocity is 27% of light speed." "Impossible. Nothing can move that fast." "Impact in 12 seconds. Raise shields." "Maximum power!" The alien flagship's energy shields flared to full strength. Blue barriers of force surrounded the massive ship, shields that had never been broken, shields that could stop the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. The railgun projectile hit them like the fist of a god. The shields held for exactly 0.3 seconds. Then they collapsed like soap bubbles. The tungsten steel projectile, moving at 80,000 kilometers per second, passed through the alien ship's armor as if it were tissue paper. The Eternal Dominion exploded. Not a small explosion. Not a normal weapons detonation. The kinetic energy release was equal to a nuclear weapon. The flagship, 3 kilometers long and home to 50,000 aliens, simply ceased to exist. In its place was an expanding cloud of superheated gas and metal fragments. For a moment, space was silent. Then chaos erupted across the alien fleet. The flagship is gone. Admiral Zek-7 is dead. How is this possible? Their shields didn't even slow it down. Commander Thrak, now the senior officer, stared at the empty space where his admiral had been. His reptilian face was frozen in shock. "Analysis!" he roared. "How did they do that?" "Sir, the projectile was moving at relativistic speeds. At that velocity, even a small mass carries enormous kinetic energy. But railguns can't achieve those speeds. Apparently, human railguns can." On Earth, General Chen watched the destruction with grim satisfaction. Target eliminated. "Installation Alpha, begin recharge sequence." "Recharge time?" asked Colonel Martinez. 30 minutes for full power, but we have 11 other installations." Around the solar system, massive structures began revealing themselves. The asteroids were falling away like disguises, showing the true scope of humanity's defensive network. Commander Thrak realized with growing horror that they weren't facing 12 simple railgun platforms. They were facing 12 impossibly powerful weapons, each one capable of destroying his largest ships with a single shot. "Sir," called his communications officer, "we're receiving a message from Earth." General Chen appeared on screen again, but her smile was gone now. Her voice was cold as space itself. "Gentlemen, you wanted to see primitive human technology. That was just the beginning. You have 11 more lessons coming." The hunt had begun, and the aliens were about to learn that sometimes the oldest weapons are the deadliest ones. Part 4. The Real Power Commander. Thrak stared at the empty space where his flagship had been. Around him, the bridge crew sat in stunned silence. The most powerful ship in their fleet had been destroyed by a single shot from a primitive human weapon. "Sir," whispered his tactical officer, "what are your orders?" Thrak's reptilian mind raced. Everything they knew about human technology was wrong, completely wrong. "Get me Dr. Voss," he commanded. "I need answers now." The science officer's pale blue face appeared on screen. She looked shaken and confused. "Doctor, explain to me how a simple railgun just destroyed our flagship." Dr. Voss checked her instruments with trembling hands. "Commander, this is impossible according to everything we know. Normal railguns cannot achieve these velocities. The power requirements would be enormous. Then how did they do it? I don't know. Wait." Her eyes widened as she read her sensors. "Commander, I'm detecting something. The human installations are connected to massive energy collectors positioned near their star." "Solar panels?" "No, sir. Something much more advanced. They're collecting energy directly from stellar plasma. The power output is beyond anything we've ever seen." Commander Thrak felt cold fear creeping up his spine. "How much power?" "Enough to accelerate projectiles to near light speed." "Sir, we need to retreat. Now." But before Thrak could give the order, his communications officer interrupted. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth." General Chen appeared on screen again. This time she looked almost sad. "You're probably wondering how we did it," she said calmly. "Let me tell you a story." On Earth, General Chen stood in the historical archive deep beneath the command center. Around her, holographic displays showed the development of human railgun technology over the past century. 50 years ago, she began, our scientists discovered something interesting. Every advanced species in the galaxy gave up railgun technology because they hit a power limitation. Fusion reactors could only provide so much energy. The hologram showed early human railgun designs. Small, weak weapons that could barely damage modern armor. But humans, we think differently. Instead of giving up, we asked a simple question. What if we used a bigger power source? The display changed to show Earth's sun, with massive collector arrays orbiting near its surface. While other species built bigger fusion reactors, we built something else. We learned to tap into stellar energy directly. Not just solar panels collecting light, but magnetic field generators that harvest the star's own plasma. Commander Thrak watched in growing horror as the human explained their technology. Each of our railgun installations is connected to the sun by a network of energy collectors. When we fire, we're not using the power of a reactor. We're using the power of a star. Dr. Voss checked her readings again and gasped. Commander, the energy flowing to those installations, it's equivalent to the entire power output of a small planet. This is impossible, Thrak muttered. No species has ever built technology like this. General Chen continued her explanation. The projectiles themselves are specially designed. Tungsten steel cores with magnetic guidance systems. At the speeds we achieve, they carry kinetic energy equal to nuclear weapons. But the engineering challenges, Dr. Voss protested over the comm. To build magnetic field generators that powerful, to create materials that can channel stellar energy. We had motivation, General Chen replied simply. We knew that someday someone would come to conquer us. We decided to be ready. The hologram now showed the construction of the installations. Decades of work, hidden in the asteroid belt. Thousands of humans working in secret to build the ultimate defense system. We called it Project Longshot, General Chen explained. 12 installations, each capable of firing one shot every 30 minutes. Each shot carrying enough power to destroy the largest warship. Commander Thrak realized the terrible math. 12 weapons firing every 30 minutes. His fleet had 300 ships. Even if they charged at full speed, the humans could destroy dozens of vessels before the fleet could get close enough to fight back. Sir, called his sensor operator, the other human installations are powering up. Energy levels rising across the system. On the tactical display, 11 more red dots began to glow brighter. 11 more impossibly powerful weapons preparing to fire. We need to run, whispered Dr. Voss over the comm. Commander, we cannot fight this. Our technology is advanced, but theirs is. It's beyond anything the galaxy has seen. But Commander Thrak realized something terrible. They were trapped. The human installations surrounded the solar system. To retreat, his ships would have to fly past those weapons. At light-speed projectile velocities, there was nowhere to hide. General Chen, he called desperately, we surrender. We will leave your system immediately. The human general shook her head slowly. I'm afraid that's not possible, Commander. You came here to destroy us, to enslave our people. Did you really think we would just let you leave? But we surrender. And what happens when you go back to your empire? When you tell them about our weapons? When you return with a larger fleet? Commander Thrak had no answer. She was right. The Empire would never allow this technology to exist. They would send everything they had to destroy humanity. You see our problem, General Chen continued. You've seen too much. You know too much. We can't let that information leave this system. Around the solar system, the remaining 11 installations finished charging. Energy readings climbed to impossible levels. Each weapon now had enough power to crack a moon. But perhaps, General Chen said thoughtfully, we can make a deal. Commander Thrak leaned forward desperately. What kind of deal? Your empire thinks humans are primitive, weak. Let's keep it that way. You're going to send a message to your leaders. You're going to tell them that Earth's defenses were stronger than expected, that you decided to retreat rather than waste ships on such a worthless planet. And if we refuse, General Chen's smile turned ice cold, then you become a demonstration of what happens to those who threaten humanity. On Installation Beta, the targeting systems locked onto the second largest alien ship. The massive railgun began its charging sequence. Commander Thrak watched the energy readings climb and realized he had no choice. Humanity had built something the galaxy had never seen. Weapons that turned stars into ammunition. The age of human isolation was about to end, but it would not end with humanity's defeat. It would end with the galaxy learning to fear the species that had tamed the power of stars. Part 5. The new reality. Commander Thrak stared at the energy readings on his screen. 11 weapons of impossible power were aimed at his fleet. Each one could erase his largest ships with a single shot. His hands trembled as he reached for the communications console. General Chen, he said quietly, we accept your terms. The human general nodded slowly. Smart choice, Commander. You will send the message exactly as I tell you. Any deviation and installation beta will demonstrate its power on your second largest ship. Understood. Good. Record this message to your Empire. The human system contains unexpected defensive capabilities. Military assessment concludes that conquest would require significant fleet losses for minimal strategic gain. Recommend focusing Imperial resources on more valuable targets. Earth poses no threat to the Empire. Commander Thrak repeated the message word for word. His tactical officer recorded everything, knowing that their lives depended on following these instructions perfectly. Now, General Chen continued, you will leave our system immediately. You will not return. You will not send scouts. You will forget that Earth exists, except as a worthless backwater planet not worth your attention. And if the Empire asks questions, then you tell them the truth, that humans are primitive and weak, that we barely managed to scratch your paint before you decided we weren't worth the effort. Commander Thrak understood. The humans were giving his Empire exactly what they expected to hear, a story that fit their prejudices perfectly. Very well. We will depart immediately. Commander, General Chen's voice turned deadly serious. If any ship from your Empire enters this system again, we will consider it an act of war, and next time, we won't offer surrender terms. The alien fleet began to retreat, moving slowly away from Earth. As they departed, Commander Thrak watched the human installations return to standby mode. The massive weapons disappeared back into their asteroid disguises, becoming invisible once again. 3 weeks later, Commander Thrak stood before the Galactic Council. The great chamber was filled with alien delegates, all eager to hear about the conquest of Earth. Report, Commander, ordered High Chancellor Vex, the Empire's supreme leader. The human system proved to be more trouble than anticipated, Thrak began carefully. Their defensive positions were adequate. We determined that the cost of conquest would exceed the strategic value of the planet. Murmurs of surprise filled the chamber. The Empire rarely retreated from anything. Adequate? Asked Dr. Voss, playing her part perfectly. Commander, your report shows minimal combat engagement. Correct. Their railgun platforms managed to damage one of our ships before we withdrew. We decided that wasting Imperial resources on such a primitive world was illogical. High Chancellor Vex leaned forward. Damage? What kind of damage? Commander Thrak chose his words carefully. Superficial hull scoring. Nothing that couldn't be repaired. But it demonstrated that conquest would take longer than anticipated. How long? Perhaps several days, Chancellor. Maybe even a week. The chamber erupted in dismissive laughter. A week to conquer an entire star system? That was pathetically long by Imperial standards. Pathetic humans, said General Corks. Not even worth our time. Exactly my conclusion, agreed Commander Thrak. I recommend we focus on the Centauri systems instead. Much more valuable targets. High Chancellor Vex nodded. Very well. Earth is hereby classified as a low-priority target. We have better things to do than waste time on primitives. As the Council moved on to other business, Commander Thrak caught Dr. Voss's eye. She gave him the slightest nod. Their secret was safe. But unknown to them, not everyone in the chamber was convinced. Ambassador Krill, the small creature who had urged caution before, watched the proceedings with his large, intelligent eyes. Something about Commander Thrak's story didn't feel right. Why would the Empire's most aggressive commander retreat from superficial damage? After the meeting, Krill returned to his private chambers and began researching. He pulled up energy scan data from the human system, looking for anything unusual. What he found made his blood run cold. The energy signatures were massive, far too large for simple defensive systems. Whatever the humans had built in that system, it was anything but primitive. Krill faced a terrible choice. Report his findings and risk exposing the truth, or stay silent and let the Empire remain ignorant of the threat. He chose silence. Some secrets, he realized, were too dangerous to reveal. Meanwhile, back on Earth, General Chen stood in her command center, watching long-range sensors. The alien fleet was almost at the edge of the solar system. Think they'll keep their word? Asked Colonel Martinez. For now, Chen replied. Fear is a powerful motivator. They know what happens if they come back. And if they send a larger fleet someday. General Chen smiled and gestured to the tactical display. Around the solar system, the 12 installations were already being upgraded. New power collectors were being deployed. Additional weapons platforms were under construction. "Let them come," she said quietly. "We'll be ready." In the months that followed, strange rumors began spreading through the galaxy. Whispered stories of a species that had built weapons powered by stars. Tales of ships destroyed by impossible velocities. Most dismissed these stories as fairy tales. But some species began to take notice. Advanced civilizations that had monitored the Empire's expansion suddenly turned their attention to a small yellow star on the galaxy's edge. They didn't come as conquerors. They came as diplomats. First contact with the Vorthon Collective came 6 months later. Then the Crystalline Empire. Then others. Each delegation arrived with the same message: we want to talk. Humanity, the species everyone had dismissed as primitive, suddenly found itself at the center of galactic politics. Not as victims or servants, but as equals, as a power to be respected. General Chen often thought about Admiral Zek-7's final words before his ship was destroyed. He had called humanity primitive, weak, insignificant. He was wrong on all counts. In the great game of galactic civilization, humanity had played the perfect hand. They had appeared weak while building strength. They had been underestimated while preparing for war. They had turned their enemies' arrogance into their greatest weapon. The galaxy would never make that mistake again. As General Chen watched the latest diplomatic ship approach Earth, she remembered something her grandfather had once told her. The best weapon is the one your enemy never sees coming. Humanity's railguns had been hidden in plain sight for 50 years. The galaxy had looked at them and seen primitive technology. They had been wrong. Sometimes the oldest ideas, powered by the newest science, create the greatest surprises. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human respect had begun. And it all started with a weapon that the galaxy thought it understood, powered by forces they never imagined, wielded by a species they had foolishly underestimated. The stars themselves had become humanity's ammunition, and the galaxy would never be the same.